Good day, and how are you doing today? We have with us today on the TV show is Farhad Khan, and he's on the select board. Good morning.
Thank you. How are you?
Good afternoon. It's noontime.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and well, let's get some background on you. Where you're from, and what.
Sure. I'm originally from India. I came to the United States in 1991, and I came to Vermont on a ski trip from New York City in 1993, and I fell in love with Vermont. I said, this is where I want to raise my family. So I moved to Burlington first for a year or so. Then I found Middlebury to be even better to live here. So I've been in this town almost 23 years now.
Yeah, we were in India in 67 and 68.
And Victor mentions that quite a bit, yes.
Yeah.
I'm from the south, and there's a place called Hyderabad. I think you went to Madras.
Yes, we went to Madras.
Yep. So
Is
we
it
are
still
about.
named Madras?
It's called Chennai.
Chennai.
Now, yeah. So we are from another 500 miles northwest of Madras, is where we are from.
Yeah.
So it's a big town, fifth biggest city in the country.
Yeah.
So I migrated in '91. I came to the United States and stayed in New York City for a couple of years. Then I moved to Burlington in '93, which was a great move. And that was where we first started our dollar store, my brother and I. And I ran the store with him for about a year and a half or so. Then I found my own store in Middlebury, where the Kinney Drugs is. And that's where I was. I was there for 5 years. Then this bigger space opened up, and I took a chance, and thank God I'm here.
So you run the dollar store?
Yes.
Yeah.
We own.
You own it and run
Yep.
it?
Yep.
Yeah.
And I have a wife and 3 kids. We got married in 2002, so it's going on almost 16 years. I have 3 kids, a boy who's a freshman in high school, and 2 girls, 10 and 11.
Oh.
Yeah.
They're almost twins.
They're almost like 16 months apart.
Yeah, 16,
Yep.
just pretty close.
Yep.
Yeah. So we want to talk about what you do and then some subjects.
Yep. Just to give some background, I actually served as a president of the Islamic Society of Vermont. That's in Colchester. I served 2 terms there, one in 2009 and 10, and then the second term was 2014 to 16. I also served on a interfaith group called Kids for Peace, Vermont. I was the vice president of that group for 4 years, from 2007 to 2011. So that is my background. Now, educational background, I'm back in school. Me and my wife, I'm getting a degree in business from CCV, and my wife is getting a degree in accounting.
Oh.
Yep.
So that'll help your business.
It does help my business, but that has been my passion all my life. I couldn't do it when I was growing up. Life was a little bit not very convenient for us, so I didn't get to go to college, and I decided that now is the time.
Yes.
And CCV is a wonderful, wonderful institution. They find resources for you. They find ways to help you with your time, if you have financial difficulties, they'll help you. They have tutoring available. Me being 55 years old, going back to school and sitting with these 19, 20-year-old kids, it's not fun, but they make it much, much easier.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. Oh, good. No, I think it's important to get a good education,
Of course.
even though whatever age.
Yep.
Yeah.
And my kids are the inspiration. Right now, actually, my 14-year-old, he helps me with my math homework. Believe it or not, this is fun.
The other way around.
It's the other way around, yep.
Well, you're on the select board.
Yes.
How long have you been there?
I've been about a year now. Last year I was nominated when Donna stepped down So there was a spot open. So
But it was a 1-year spot
it
instead
was a
of a
1 year,
3-year.
yep, 1 year temporary spot. Now I'm up for a 3-year full term
Full term,
election.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Good
Thank
to
you.
see. And you know, you have some background at work now,
Yes.
information stuff, because you've been there a year.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what are your interests? I understand the town economy and
Yes, I'm from a business background, so that will be my first priority. And I think a sound business, a sound small business community is the backbone of any community. I think for a thriving community, we need to have a good retail presence in town. I know we are going through some different times now. We went through that phenomenon of that's called big box stores.
yeah.
So we survived that somehow. Now we are facing the online phenomena, which is hurting a lot of small businesses. But in a small town like Middlebury, I think we really need to support small businesses, encourage small business to come here. We are an economy where people need to spend money in our town, which is very important. And if there is no shops around and there's no shopping around here, I can give you an example. When Ames used to be in this town, we used to have a bustling economy, in my opinion. They went out of business in 2002. And since then, for example, Black Friday used to be the busiest day of the year for us. Now Black Friday is like a snow day because nobody stays in town to shop. People go to Burlington, Rutland, or Ticonderoga to shop for the Black Friday shopping.
That's the day after Thanksgiving, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And people don't stay in Middlebury because there's nothing we offer for a Black Friday. So we really need, in my opinion, we need an anchor store that brings people into town, especially the surrounding towns of Virgins, Bristol, Salisbury, Brandon. Those towns don't come to Middlebury to shop anymore, and they used to. So to me, it's very important that we need to have an Ames type of store at some point that will bring, actually what does is that increases consumers' presence in town, which benefits the restaurants downtown. When people come into town, they are going to shop, then they want a place to eat.
Yeah.
They will come downtown to look around. They'll find some stuff. We need that, and I think that's what we're lacking. And a lot of people think that's a direct competition with you. I don't think it is. I'm a small business owner, so I'm not threatened by any department store because that's going to only bring more people in.
Yeah.
When they come to that so-called Ames store, they're going to pass by my store and they say, "Oh, there's a dollar store. Let's go in there."
Yeah.
And I think that makes a big difference.
It'll make a big difference for downtown too.
Of course,
Yeah.
it is. Yep.
Yeah, because they're downtown from Shoreham,
Yep.
and
Of course.
they just go there.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. So, well, that's a good thing. And how are you working on it? Are you
We have I have approached in the last year. I have approached a few developers, real estate agents and stuff from Burlington, like Pomerleau Real Estate. I approached them and I had a couple of meetings with them. They think it's a good idea. They just don't think that a big box store will work for Middlebury. They also think that a big box store would not be interested in Middlebury because of a small town like us. Why would they come to Middlebury if they can come to Rutland or Burlington? And that Middlebury is not on their horizon, is what I hear. So we really need to seriously think about some mid-level retailer, nothing like 100,000 square feet, but something like 30 to 35,000 square feet store. That would really help us.
So, instead of calling it a big box coming into town,
Yep,
you call it a middle-sized or a small
just
box
just
store.
a plain anchor store.
Just an anchored store.
That's all. Yep.
Yeah, That's a
I know a big box store would scare everybody, and we don't want a big box store anyways.
No.
That's Middlebury is a very small town. We have our own character, the way we present ourselves. We want to keep that intact. So we
Yeah.
really don't need that culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we could use it because the store that was here was small.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And I represent, most of the time I represent, I come across people who are on the lower income side. In my store, a lot of people that come shop in my store are pretty much lower income people. And I hear from everybody, and every single person will tell me that they miss Ames. They miss a store like that in this
Yeah.
town.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked people, I said, I haven't seen you in a while. And they said, well, I go to Burlington to shop now, or I go to Rutland to shop now, because they don't find anything appealing to come to Middlebury.
Mm-hmm. So that's somehow you have to get somebody to start working on this.
Yes, and that is my proposal, that we should actually either form an exploratory committee
Mm-hmm.
to do some research on how we can try to get some of these stores to be interested in our town.
Mm-hmm. Even on a small scale, even though
Yep.
we're on a bigger scale somewhere else.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's a good idea. Now, you are also interested in mental health.
Yes, the mental health is mostly tied into your. We had this discussion about the pot legalization issue, and I always say this. I'm pretty new to this, all the politics around that, and I know there are two different factions. You know, one is completely opposed to it, one is completely vehemently for it, and they will go to war between us. And I don't think that's the solution. But me as a selectman, I think. When I represent this town, I want to think about what's good for the town rather than what I believe is right for the town. One of the things I was disappointed in, and I read this in a few weeks ago, George Merkel, the Virginia police chief, he had it in Addison Eagle, I think. He was very disappointed that the police departments were not even consulted on these matters before it was legalized. At the state level,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the police community nationwide unanimously is against pot legalization, and that means something. They know more than I do what the
Yeah.
repercussions are about using pot. And we have schools. I have 3 little kids. Do I want them to be exposed? Of course not.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's a good idea to. We have to. I don't know what the answer is because it's here now. But I think we should be careful about sitting apart where we are going to have these so-called stores that we are talking about. We got to be careful how we go about that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, when I was in the legislature, they were talking about marijuana,
Yeah.
and I was against it. And we didn't do anything
No.
at that time.
Yeah.
But I've studied it a bit too,
Yeah.
and it's bad business.
Of course.
And it does. No matter what anybody says, it does increase it.
Yeah.
Go to the next stage. The
Yep.
next stage might not be the highest kind of
Yeah.
thing. I mean, just a little bit higher,
Of course.
but and potency, but it's a good issue, and it needs to be taken up. And select board is going to do that. Or
I hope so.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it.
yeah,
Yeah.
good. And so, are there any? Well, let's talk about the railroad and the bridge.
Yes, that's a big that's a big item in our discussion. I've been on the select board for only about a year now, and most of the decisions that about the expenditure and all that, those logistics were already being made before I got on the board.
Mm-hmm.
When I got on the board, we were talking about how to implement this plan and how to put the temporary bridges. We talked a lot about the actor being impacted, the impact on the town people of actor relocating their bus stops and stuff, and we talked a lot about it. We talked about the loss of parking. But I think overall we did a great job. When I say we, Jim Gish did a great job how he managed that project, and his outreach to the community have been excellent in my opinion. He took all the criticism very well. When we suggested him that no, this is not the right thing, we should do this, he looked into it, and if it made sense, he changed those things for us. One of the things I would like to improve upon from what we did for the temporary bridges is, I think at the time of we will have almost like a 10-week closure when we are going to go the big construction.
You mean the roads?
2020.
Yeah.
When we do the permanent bridges, I think at that time we should pay more attention to signage. Because people downtown, the businesses downtown are going to be impacted. We want to make sure that they have the least of an impact on their business during this construction phase. Apparently, now we already lost quite a bit of parking because of these temporary bridges, so there is some impact. I know we need to replace these bridges. There's no going back.
Well, the bridges had to be done. They were in bad shape.
It had to be done 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, it had to be done, and sooner than later, we should do it now. I don't think the delaying any longer for any reason makes sense right now, because the longer we wait, the longer people are going to be hurt.
Yeah.
The businesses. I'm especially concerned about the businesses on Merchants Row, where they have a narrow one-way road right now, and a lot of parking is gone for them, especially the diner and the Carol's Hungry Mine and stuff. They depend on clients coming to eat, and people, if they don't find parking, they have other restaurants, they'll go and eat somewhere else.
Actually, when they start building the thing, will be men, mostly men, be a few women working, but they will go and eat in those stores.
Of course, and we should. We actually, I had a talk with Carl from the diner. I go there quite a bit, especially when this construction started. I said I might as well go there instead of somewhere else to show some support to the gentleman there. And I tell him, I say, you know what, we have to improvise on how you're doing business. During that construction phase, offer some kind of a special just for the construction crew. Get some vouchers for them or something. We'll talk to the construction company, Kubricki, and approach them, and I say, you know what, if they come eat in my place, I'll give you a discount. That's a good way of bringing people in.
Yeah.
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 So, but actually, when we are closing the road, I think the bigger issue I have is again about the signage. We have to have proper, well lit signs. When I say well lit, but legible signs, where people can see and find directions where they want to go during that construction phase.
So they know that the restaurants are still open.
Yep.
They're not closed.
They're not closed, yep.
Yeah.
And the impression will be that, because if I am the one who's installing that sign, I know that sign is there, I have read that sign, I understand the sign, but a person who's walking by who doesn't know about those signs, he will walk right past it if it's not legible enough for him.
Yeah.
I think we should look into that.
And the business should work together on that issue?
I think they should work together. The town should work with the businesses, during the construction phase. I think it's our responsibility that we can have the least amount of impact on the businesses, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what other subjects do you talk about in the select board?
We talk about, we talk about a lot.
Yeah.
We constantly talk about, we have some we talk about the Exchange Street, the water pipeline issue that we are having, the infrastructure issue.
What is that now?
There was last summer was a bad summer for us. There were a lot of pipe breaks all around the town, especially on the Exchange Street, and that's a very old dysfunctional section of the town when it comes to water supply. I think the select board makes it a priority to address that as soon as possible. We are doing it, but I will actually work for that to make that happen.
Yeah, that on the Exchange Street, but downtown, doesn't that have some old?
No, I think this particular issue is mostly for Exchange Street. Yeah, it's impacting them a lot because if there are a lot of industries there, and if there is a water break and if they have to shut down for a day, that's a big loss for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
you have two. You have a new one so that it wouldn't break.
we are
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And you could lay it right next to the old one.
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's good. And any other issues?
No, first of all, I'm up for re-election, so
Yes.
everybody knows it. And we have two other candidates, Gary Baker and Lindsay Fuentes George, her name. So I wish them best of luck on my side. And Gary has been around for all his life in this town. And Lindsay seems very young, very energetic. So we all, it's a healthy competition when we are in.
But you're in competition too.
I'm in competition too. So, but it's a healthy competition. It shows that people care for the town.
Yeah.
And the reason I got onto the select board level was I've lived here for 23 years, and I always feel like when you live in a town for this long, it's your duty to give back to the town
Yeah.
in some capacity.
Yeah.
It's very, very, because this involves the future of my children. If the town of Middlebury is going to be safer 10 years from now, that's going to be safer for my kids.
Yeah.
If the economy is going to be bustling in 10 years, that's going to benefit me also, my family also, among other families. So I think it's very important that we all think when we live in a community and when we benefit from the community. Middlebury is a beautiful town.
Yes.
I have lived here, and I can tell you I have made families of my own. So people adopt me. That's how good this town is. People, if I am going through some kind of a trauma or some kind of a tragedy or something, people will flock to my store to make sure that I'm okay.
Yeah.
And that tells a lot about a small community.
Yeah.
Middlebury is a caring community. Middlebury is a beautiful community. We are a family. I think we should work towards improving that,
Yeah.
in my opinion, yes.
Yeah, well, those are good thoughts. And, we all try to do it in some way, but sometimes we get a little lazy.
Of course, yep.
So, did you want to talk more about the opioid crisis, or we've kind of covered that?
We kind of covered that. The rail bridge project, I think the future, I would like to see, there's a talk about maybe in the future we will have public transportation, the passenger rail
Yeah.
in town, and I will be very excited if that happens in Middlebury. I think we should thrive to do that. We should strive to promote that in our town. We used to have rail service here a long time ago,
Yeah.
and we haven't had it, and it's a tragedy that we don't have it.
It saves gas.
It saves
the
gas, yeah.
environment.
Yep, of course it
Yeah.
does. It's a need. I don't know why it went out. I don't know all the details, but we should bring it back.
Yeah. Well, we have to all work for that.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yep.
Especially the select board.
Yep. So on the point of select board, so I got the select board I've been on for a year now, so it's exciting. I love everybody on the select board. I'm sad to see that Susan stepped down. I have a lot of respect for Brian for his leadership. Victor has immense maturity in him. Nick is he doesn't talk much, but when he talks, when he talks, he knows what he's talking about. I like Heather's enthusiasm. I like Laura's passion on the board. So I'm still learning. It's been a year. I don't talk much, but there's a lot to take in. There's a lot of work, but I'm excited.
Well, the reason why you have a year instead of 3 years is because you took somebody's place.
Yes.
Somebody dropped out.
Yes.
And you're finishing up their term.
Their term, yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And this is going to be the real challenge now.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, sound good to me. So, we have 5 minutes left. Is there something that you would like to talk about that, or add to something that we have talked about?
Safe place for my kids, safe place for our kids to grow.
Yeah.
I will encourage more and more participation from the citizens in the town affairs. I want people to come out and vote on the election day and let their voices be heard. I'm always open to suggestions. I'm always open to comments. I'm always open to criticism. And I will be all ears if somebody has a word of advice for me. I would like to learn from them. And yep.
And you do this what you're just saying by working for the town.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I worked for the town once. Well, I still do, but I worked for the town as a legislator for 30,
Yes.
30
Yes.
years.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. And now I'm on a committee. So that's all good to do. How do your children like this town?
My children are, we love it. There was about 2-3 years ago, I was seriously planning to move to Burlington because I wanted to change the pace and stuff, but my kids wouldn't have none of it. My kids love this town. We have a great school system, Mary Hogan Middle School and High School. My son is in the ski club in Middlebury, and they all love everybody. The Parks and Rec department, we are the regular members there, and I'm sad to see that Terry is going. And Terry is leaving us. She'll be sorely missed.
Yeah.
So yeah, we love this town. This is my home now.
Mm.
Yes.
Yeah. Good. Well, I'm glad to hear that, and so. We have about 3 minutes to go. 2 minutes. And we have covered a lot of subjects over this time.
Yes.
And they're all good things, and all good things for the town of Middlebury. And the railroad bridge is very important,
Yep.
and not only for the businesses, but for people in town.
Of course. I think the sooner it's done, the sooner it will look more beautiful for us, and businesses are going to thrive after that. Once we're going to restore all the parking that they have lost so far, which is very important. And right now, the way Actor is working, they have no clue where their stops are because we keep changing them because of this temporary bridges and stuff. So they will have a permanent schedule after that, which will be good for the riders of Actor.
Oh, yeah.
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 Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, I know Actor is the bus
Yep.
business in town,
Yep.
and it goes other places in town.
Yep.
goes.
They do. They have the whole town service, plus they have the tri-town service that covers Bristol and Regents.
Right. Well, thank you for coming, and I've learned a lot, and wish you luck.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for having me here.
All right. Bye-bye.